Lilian, thank you so much for coming today, coming on the podcast. I just adore you. I met you so long ago at Camp Rocky Road. You were a kiddo.
Yeah.
Amazing. You've become quite a trailblazer. So I'm really honored to talk with you today. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, of course.
Before we dive in, how old are you and what grade are you in?
I'm 17 and I'm currently going into senior year next year.
Wow. Wow. That's crazy. We spoke about what topic interested you, and you said the responsibilities of self confidence redefining the cool girl. I love this topic so much because I think we often fixate on how to get self confidence, but not what to do once you have it. And so I'm going to dive right in. I'm going to ask you, how do you get self confidence?
I think that personally, the way that I have developed my confidence is kind of just acknowledging what you're scared of. I think acknowledging there's a lot of people in this room, and I really don't want to give this presentation. But recognizing that I know everything that's on this presentation. I know every slide. I've gone many times. And I know what I'm doing. And you know, I think that going through that process many times, especially because my school is so like presenter based, it's so project based, it's so much of like you have 15 seconds, tell me about your project, go. And it's like it's a lot of on the spot. But just recognizing, hey, I've gone over this many times. I've gone through every scenario possible. I know what I'm doing. This is my time to shine, and I got it. And I think that that is not something that you should shy away from, especially even the fact that you might not know every question that you're being asked. You might not know it, but that's also something to about. Say like, you know what? I don't actually know, but maybe I can do some research and we can talk about it later. I think also acknowledging that you might not know everything, but that should be okay. You should acknowledge that, and you should take pride in not in being able to give that presentation, take those answers, take that question in A, um, do that podcast, and just like acknowledge that, you know, I am myself. I know me better than anyone else does. I know what I'm doing. I think that mantra, I know what I'm doing, is definitely something that I tell myself every single time that I give a presentation, talk to someone I don't know. It's definitely something that I've taken away from my high school experience and just like putting myself out there.
You talk about the self confidence coming from accepting the fear you might have, knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses, and growing. That's what I took from that. What now that you have the self confidence? I know it's an ever moving uh, thing, but what do you do with it? How does it propel you in your life?
I think okay, I have a little anecdote. So I went into my high school very scared of presentations, talking to strangers. I was very much very introverted. Still am very introverted, but I can be an extrovert. Um, but I think, and I went in with one of my friends who was also very anxious about giving presentations. And I have noticed that it's almost like me giving off this sense of like, I know what you're doing. I know that you've rehearsed this. I am here for you as well. Brings other people to also be confident in themselves. And I think that like sharing that confidence is definitely something that I love to do. I love hyping her up. I love being like, hey, you've researched this topic so much. I know you are so smart and you're eloquent and you've talked to me about this. And you know what? It's okay to stutter, but I know that you're going to do great. I know that you're going to be amazing. It's okay because you're not alone up there. I'm in the audience. I'm looking at you and I'm here for you. And I think that that has been such an amazing journey to look over, because we've been together at my school for 3 years. Um, and I remember that our first presentations that we gave, terrifying, absolutely terrifying. Because we both had never given such like presentations in front of people, but I remember just like noticing that the next time she gave it, it was a little bit better, and then like next year it was a lot better, and I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. And then I realized like, oh my gosh, she's gaining this confidence, maybe not to the extent that I might have, but she's gaining it, and I love to see that. So I think that, to sum up what I meant with that anecdote, sharing that confidence with other people, I think uplifting others as well is something that you need to do when you have that self-confidence.
I love it. You're using your powers for good. And we all
Exactly.
need as many cheerleaders as we can get in our lives. And to cheerlead is epic. I love that so much. I'm going to take that with me. You told me that you're passionate about creating and advocating for social change. Do you believe that your confidence plays a part in your voice in that?
100%. 100%. I think that I think going into some of those spaces and being like, hey, I'm a minority that's affected by this issue. I don't like that word that you're using to describe my community. I don't like that this law is in place to hinder my community. I don't like this, and like telling people who are in power who don't understand that is so daunting. I think it is such a scary moment. But I think again, it just all comes down to, I know who I am. I know that I strong Latina woman, and I can say with confidence that this is affecting my community, and I can say with confidence that it needs to change. And that's something that I've had to learn. I think it's definitely a learning process. Um, I think I've also been doing a lot of social advocacy, social change. When I also entered freshman year, I think that's where it all like really started. And it was a bit hard, I'm not gonna lie. Like even in a safe space where everyone was talking about the issues that were affecting different minorities and different communities, it was hard to be like, yeah, I don't like that. That is affecting um, my community. It's affecting communities like communities that I know and I love, and I am affected by it. I can't, I don't want to stand by and watch this happen. It's a bit hard to recognize that I have the power to say that. But I think that it is it's like a hard thing to wrap your head around, that you
Yeah.
have the power, especially just recognizing that the society that I live in is me, and me wanting to speak about these issues. Um, but yeah, I think confidence plays a huge part in advocacy, especially having to speak in front of many, many people. It's very scary.
Yeah, you're brave. It's almost like confidence breeds bravery.
Yeah,
Some
definitely.
ways. That's what I'm hearing. Um, I think so often cool girls, I say that in quotations, are described as aloof, judgmental, distanced, better than you attitude. But when I think of all you're doing for your community and who you are in this world, you are the ultimate
Mhm.
cool girl to me. Um, if you could redefine cool girl, what would it be? Who's a cool girl? What's a cool girl?
Hmm. I think redefining a cool girl would be someone who's there for you, someone who isn't afraid to take charge, someone who isn't afraid to put their voice out there and and say that they're passionate about something, and talk to others and be there for others. And I also don't want to say that um loud, like I think that being quiet but being there and working kind of also almost behind the scenes, like those are cool girls as well. Those are
Yes.
cool girls as well. I love my girls who are like that, who are behind the scenes, who are very hardworking, and often don't take the spotlight. I think okay, everyone's a cool girl. We'll just
No.
say everyone's a cool girl. But I think, yeah, those women who are just hardworking, passionate, and who are always there for others, I think is definitely, in my book, a really cool girl.
Me too. It's like I'm out to redefine it. I can't. We need a new vernacular around cool girl.
Yeah,
What are some things that you do, big and small, in your life that make you proud of who you are? And if you could get specific on these, that would be great.
Um, well, I think I will say every presentation that I do and every kind of um, introduction that I do, every type of um, kind of like taking myself out of my comfort zone kind of area that I do. I think every time that I finish that, I like the adrenaline rush is slowing down. I'm a little bit calmer. I'm not as shaky. I always like reflect back to like, would I have done that when I was in eighth grade? Or would I have done that, when I was like 12, 13? And oftentimes the answer is absolutely not. I would not have put myself there. But I think that realizing that I can now do this and I can now put myself out there and I can presentations and I feel good about them. Um, is is something that I do all the time and reflecting, like, would I have done that? And oftentimes when the answer is no, I feel proud. I definitely feel proud. Um, that
Yeah,
I've
love that.
grown and I can like see that I've grown a lot through that. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, you have grown. It's awesome. It's totally inspiring. You've become such a leader, clearly.
Thank you.
Um, what are some what are some steps, some advice you have for girls your age and younger than you that look to you to grow and to develop into the type of woman you are? Like, what are some steps they can take to put their confidence, to develop their confidence and then put it into action?
What's funny about that is that around the same time last year I was taking a course about social change, but international social change. Um, and they were talking about leadership and the fact that like leadership just comes with being a person, but you have to find and define it for yourself. And again, leadership, being a leader is not necessarily being that person who's like holding the microphone, who's always speaking out. It's also like, I'm working with this team and I'm sitting there and I'm working with everyone on this team and I check in with people individually and I make sure that this team is functioning kind of like the oil, like making sure that everyone's working. That's a leader, as well as being, maybe a little bit strict, maybe not knowing everyone personally, but being there and like having strict rules, which that's not my leadership style, but it gets the job done. And I do appreciate a lot of people. I know a lot of people that way. And I do appreciate their leadership style, but I think personally it was that discovery that maybe I'm not very loud. Maybe I'm not very strict. Maybe I like to tell people to like go on walks and to take a break and go get some water because I feel that they're not really contributing because they're tired, probably. Um, and I've had to do that many times with um, working with a group of people to, to get a project out. Working with like 6 different people to get a project out. It's hard. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
there there might be like one person who's just having a bad day and there's not anything you can do to change that except to tell them, you know what, take some time and reflect on the work that you've been doing and go take some time and come back and you'll be a little bit more refreshed and you'll do a little bit more work. And I think that's a strong leader as well. And
Mhm.
discovering that is definitely something that I think every person goes through. I think generally through life, I think I sped my process up through just like really being interested in leadership and social change. I definitely sped through that in like a summer. But yeah, I think I think everyone can discover the little bit of leadership that they do in their everyday life. and start defining leadership for themselves.
I love this. You're wise, my friend. Your insight is so good. It's like, oh, as a CEO of a company, I'm thinking, man, I think I could improve my leadership skills. It's nice that, yeah, it's really, that really, that sat with me, my friend. I'm taking that. Listen, I could talk to you about this forever and really take some notes. Maybe I'm going to bring you on as a consultant. But it's time to shift gears into the other part of the podcast. And it is the know it all segment. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Question number 1. What is your superpower at this stage in your life?
I hate to be cheesy. But I think it's definitely like my voice. I think I've learned to definitely put it out there. Definitely use it to help others and um change people, change communities, implement projects. I've used it. And I think definitely learning how to use my voice and speaking out about things is definitely my superpower. I think also it knowing that I can talk to someone and be like, hey, I this is what I do. I think like this is what I know, this is what I do, this is me. Here you go. Is definitely something that I know I'm gonna need, especially with everything and just like also having interviews for different people. So definitely my voice and me in general, but it's a little bit cocky.
You are. You're a total superhero in my book. So I'm down with you saying you totally, because I agree. Absolutely. Second question. What don't you want to lose as you get older or become an adult?
I think recognizing like my power as an individual. I don't want to, like go into a field that is not dominated by people that look just like me and say like I don't belong here. I don't want to do that. I don't want to recognize. I don't want to like use that almost again self-confidence that I have in myself to know what I'm doing, know that this is me, um understand who I am. I don't want to lose that. I think that if I do, I think that's going to be a very very sad thing to recognize and try to like rebuild almost that power that I have.
Gosh, that's great. And she's wildly insightful. Yes. Number 3. What do you understand that adults don't think you do?
Hmm. Don't want to put adults on the spot.
I know. Ignore that any adult will ever be listening to this. No, we can all learn.
I think adults don't recognize that I have the right to an opinion and saying that opinion. I think it's something that I struggle so much with. Um, just like telling adults like, hey, you're actually speaking over me. I don't know if you recognize that you're speaking over me, like quite literally speaking over me, and interrupting me. But you're also like not listening to me, and I don't know if it's because you don't think that I know what I'm talking about, or because you just don't respect my opinion. Um, but I think that's definitely something that I've struggled with talking to older people, and it might quite literally be a 2-year difference, just to be like slightly older than me, and they tell me, oh, it's because you haven't graduated high school yet, and I'm like, I can talk about finances. I can I've even taken a class in finance, financial stability and all of that. Like I can talk about it. Just because I'm 17 doesn't mean I can't have an opinion and talk about these things. But yeah, definitely.
That's great. That's great. Okay, last question. What advice do you give your future self?
Um, Go to Camp Rocky Road.
Yeah, thanks. I'll take it.
No,
Besides
no.
Camp Rocky Road, which I will be forever grateful. But
Um,
Something else, something else.
yeah. I think my dog is sniffing under my door. But
Don't we love our dogs?
we do. I love my pets. I have 4 pets. Crazy. But anyways, um,
Amazing, amazing.
um, I think I'd give advice that I would give to my future self would be go on that journey. Go on that journey. Take it. Take that opportunity. Put yourself out there. It's not as scary as it seems. I think I'm paralyzed by fear, extremely paralyzed by fear when I was young. And I think that going on that journey and going over that and learning from those experiences is definitely something that you have to go through. So just do it. Just
Ah,
take that leap. Yeah.
yes. I mean, it's like preach. I love Thank you, Lilian. I'm just so grateful you came on today. You're like sharing your wisdom with me and everyone who's listening, and you're such an inspiration, and I am so grateful to have you here. Thank you so much. See you soon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was so much fun. I'm glad that I saw
know,
you.
it's great.
Yeah.
Oh, you're wonderful. That's an understatement. Okay, talk soon.